Hello everybody, how's everyone doing? Ame Gakita desu. Alright, today we're going to talk about the things that I've always been referring lately a lot, the four phrase of a person from sane to insane along the line. And I decided to kind of like put up a random chat for it. I kind of like need to let people to understand the four key phrases in a way when a person is like, how do we know a person is starting to go down the route of being an insane person along the line? And I'll be pointing out the four key phrases. They are like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 along the line, but there is also called the final line. The final line that I always tend to call it right after the final fourth phase, and that anyone who cross that final line can be in a way called insane in a way, because the thing is that once you kind of like slowly go down the rabbit hole or go down the climb up the mountain and go down the cliff and jump off it along the line, yeah, that's how it may seem in other people's eyes. But then again, this is just a random chat. This is a study that done by my own observance. I'm only kind of like observing people along the line, and I've seen quite a lot of cases. I've seen a lot of things. I've been talking about different random chat about some people along the line, and it's kind of lead me to this situation where I call it the fourth phase of madness. Well, the thing is, right, this fourth phase of madness I will be sharing to you guys. So understand that this is a random talk, a random topic along the line, but it is something that I observe. So whether you want to take it with a huge pin or salt or a whole packet of salt along the line, prepare it along the line and make sure that you'll be throwing it at the screen along the line. But if you feel like you agree along the line, just write in the comment below and we can discuss it further along the line. So with that being said, you guys will be hearing from me a lot of things that I'm gonna discuss along the line. And yes, there will be a lot of along the line. So, often more than not, anyone who know me very well is that when I talk about the fourth phase of madness, I always refer to like a person when they are showing these four key phrase. Often more than not, it can be in order, it can be not in order along the line. But the one thing that I notice often more than not is that when they actually show one thing in common, and that will actually be called emotion. Emotion can be mean a lot of things to some people. It can be the feeling, it can be the facial expression, it can mean like the things that people are thinking or feel along the line. But in my take, I would actually call it unleashing raw feeling, be it hate, love, jealousy, anger, happiness, whatsoever. Happiness can also be considered a form of raw feeling. So when you show this kind of feeling along the line, often more than not, it can impact your behavior or judgment along the line. What does that mean? Let's use the word love in this case. Often more than not, when you come up with the word love, don't you ever hear of the word called love is blind? Does that ring a bell in a way? Well, the thing is, right, sometimes when a person have a little bit of emotion, yes, it can affect a person's judgment. Like if a person say they are in love, they love a girl along the line, like a guy when they love a girl, what would they do for the girl? Will they queue for the girl, or will they earn money for the girl, or will they do whatsoever for the girl? Often more than not, when they are falling in love, it can affect a person's mind, and whether you like it or not, it can affect their judgment, it can affect their thinking, it can affect them to in a positive way or a negative way. Often more than not, if the positive way is good, then it's good. But the reason why I always say that this kind of behavior can be also considered a form of negative thing, like again, will you kill for love? Often more than not, there are cases of people who would kill for love. And if you look at some cases like some of the murderer case or some of the people who go along the line of like hey, you shouldn't get a girlfriend, like if other like use the word yandere in Japanese term will be also one of the things. So the thing is, right, when you come up with the word love, would anyone do anything insane just for the sake of love? Yes, there are cases of it. And again, it lead to the first phrase, the first step, everything start from the emotion. If the person didn't think of love or whatsoever, then the person won't think about this kind of thinking. They won't have the emotion affecting their judgment. It won't affect their behavior along the line. So even if we use the word love, really does it affect their behavior? Often more than not, yes, it does. It affect a person emotion in like the emotion that affecting their behavior in a way is that sometimes when a person fall in love along the line, what would they do first? Would some like how like along the line like when some people say like, oh, how do you know that your husband is cheating or your wife is cheating? They are doing something along the line of things that you don't really see them doing, but they are doing it for the sake of doing it. So yeah, let's say for example, an example about a husband cheating on a wife, or maybe a wife cheating on the husband. What do the first thing for the wife to do? They do makeup. Normally, they don't do makeup for the husband, but now they are doing makeup easily. Or maybe for the guy, they often go to the gym. Why would a guy who never take care of their health decided to go to the gym often more than not, and the wife will be like, I smell something. There is something along the line. So often more than not, when a person is in love, it can affect their behavior, their habit, their judgment along the line. So the thing is, right, often more than not, yes, a feeling like love can affect and impact their judgment. And when and often more than not, will it and then when you look at the situation, let's say for example the husband is cheating on the wife or along the line, did the husband really fall in love? Yes, the husband may be falling in love with another girl along the line, and that is affecting his behavior. Now, again, back to love, because the wife loves the husband, and now the wife noticing about the situation that yes, there may be a form of cheating. Is that a form of jealousy? Yes, it is a form of jealousy. It is affecting her. It's making her a little bit paranoid or thinking along the line of, hey, maybe something is wrong, and she start thinking along the line, and that can be a form of thing. So any form of emotion can affect a person's behavior or judgment along the line, and it can be the main source of a lot of situation. I mean, like look at some of the hate for Niji Sanji along the line, or maybe some of the murder along the line. Often more than not, some people will say that maybe it wasn't form of like let's say some of the serial killers, they didn't have emotion along the line. No, there is a form of emotion. The emotion may have been affected them when they were young. Let's say for example, like in the case of murderer, if some people say, hey, they are cold-blooded along the line, do they have no form of emotion? No, they have some form of emotion actually. So the emotion may have been been affecting them when they are young, where maybe they have a form of hatred. Hatred also can be a form of emotion. So often more than not, a hate for, like let's say for example, some of the murderers, why would some of the serial killer go along the line of killing girls or people that they do, like if you ask them why would they do so, let's say for example some of the famous serial killer always tend to kill girls along the line. Why would they do so? Because they hate girls. That's your answer. So often more than not, emotion is actually a form, whether do they have emotion or not at the end of the day. When you look at the first phrase, it's often more than not lead to the first everything, and that is emotion, the emotion of a person. So if you are too happy, maybe it can affect your judgment. Like if you are too happy, you sometimes overlook some stuff, or when you are in love, you tend to overlook some people faults or some of their bad stuff. Or maybe if you are hating someone, you tend to take very sensitive note of what the person do along the line or what they did along the line. So often more than not, the emotion can get a person into the first phase of being insane in a way, because they start looking into it every single detail, or maybe affecting their own judgment along the line. So emotion in my first step of the madness. If you are looking to a person to become a mad person along the line, then you have to make sure that you unleash this feeling. But if you are not, or if you notice that someone is having this sort of emotion that is affecting them in a way, there is still chance to help them. Often more than not, I know some people will say that, hey, you don't need psychiatry, you don't need specialists, but no, sometimes often more than not, at this first phase, they do need some form of help. Let's say for example, if in the turn of love, give them the best advice. If not, often more than not, it can lead to the next phase, the next step, and it is a very dangerous phase if they once they step into that. And what step would that actually be? Well, obsession. Obsession can also mean wanting something or fix on something. They kind of like can't move on with their life in a way, or they just unable to think any other thing other than the thing that are affecting them. And what kind of like often more than not, anyone will always hear me always saying that when you love someone or when you hate someone and when it go over, it became obsession. Yes, that is the second phase. When the obsession can also mean a lot of things, but in my case, I would actually say that it trapped in a loop of fixation or preventing growth or healing. But the thing is, right, does that actually mean? Often more than not, like again, when you think about, let's say for example, when you love someone along the line, right? Let's say for example, if a guy loves a girl, but the girl doesn't like him, or maybe they kind of like date along the line, but the girl just say, hey, let's break up along the line. But the guy was like, no, we don't want to break up, I don't want to break up, no, we have to stay together. Yes, often more than not, it means that the guy would not move on. And when that happened, often more than not, we had here. I think that pretty much people will hear along the line that hey, there are cases where guys can't move on with their love. It can either take them days to move on, months to move on, or even years to move on, or even in cases where people don't even move on. Why? They are trapped in that loop, the loop of the emotion that is affecting them. So let's say for example, in the example that I give of the guy falling in love and he couldn't move on, he is fit in that emotion of love. He is in love with the girl to the point of that he can't move on. He is feature like in that loop. So is he technically in a way he is trapped. And often more than not, this is of in some people way of thinking that maybe he needs some sort of help. We need to give him the best advice. Maybe the best way to send him a specialist along the line. Yes, it is best to do so. Often more than not, people at this point still overlook a person mindset. Is that sometimes obsession can lead to a trap or being in the loop, and they can't move on even when they show like sign of that they are moving on with the life. But when you ask them about, are you still think, how about getting a girl along that, no, I'm in love with someone else already along the line, then yes, they are still trapped in the loop. They can't move on. There is no form of growth, there is no form of healing in terms of that. But then again, does it only came to love? Well, no, it doesn't mean just love. It can also be hate. Let's say for example, hate in the when you hate a person, you anyone who know about a lot of the story about revenge or maybe in serial killer on the line, why would people go to the point of killing or wanting to take a revenge? Why? Because they couldn't move on. They want to make sure they done what they need. So for example, in the case of revenge, would they move on with their life? No, they will keep on thinking about revenge. They just, and for maybe to the haters along the line, why would they keep on hating someone? Because it's part of their life. They can't move on. They just want to keep on hating. They, and if in the case, let's say for example, that the person that of their hate or their revenge have move on, or let's say pass away or no longer in this world along the line, then what does those people think? They are still trapped in it. Some of them may not be able to think carefully and they end their life along the line, but there are also cases where people like hear of, like, when, let's say for example in the case of revenge, let's say when they finally took their revenge, or maybe they feel their revenge and the person of their target had gone off, like off this world already in a way, then when you ask them what is the first thing in their mind, nothing. They was trapped in that loop of hate, their grudge, their whatsoever feeling that caused them to be in the way. So often more than that, when you want them to move on with their life, would they still think about moving on? No. The error in their mind keep on looping, and if they can't move on, they will be fit. It will be in a loop. And again, the reason why I call it a loop, trapped in that loop or being obsessed with something, is that they can't think of anything else. They will always think of that one thing, and in a sense, it's a form of loop. And it doesn't mean that they can move on with their life, which in a sense preventing their growth or preventing from healing their wound. So the second obsession again is a very powerful thing that often more than not at this point of time is best to help them whenever a person found out about this such thing. And it's also a best point to stop them if they start thinking along the line of revenge, hate, or love, or whatever. If they, let's say for example, in the turn of love, if the girl don't want to be with the guy, or they want to break up along the line, let's say unacquainted love or whatsoever, if they can't move on, it is gonna trap them in the loop, and it is not gonna be good. But if in the turn of hate, then it can affect their thinking along the line, and they will just keep on. They will be just live for the love or hate along the line. So often more than not, obsession, the second step, the second key phase along the line, is really important because it can point. Like when you look at it, they are now stepping into the territory of being insane. Over more than not, the first one in a way when we call like when a person is too in love or whatever, we kind of like say they are just crazy with love, they are just crazy with hate along the line. That is already like the form of saying it. But when they lead to the point of obsession, that is you kind of like notice that hey, something is seemed wrong. That to some people they will just say that maybe they just insane along the line, but often more than not, if you are a friend of such person, it's best to stop them at this point because the next step, which is the third step, is not gonna be the best step to stop them because it is down the hatch. So what is the third step? Well, the third step is actually often more than not, I always use the word called weird reasoning. There is actually a proper term called coming out with conspiracy along the line, but weird reasoning, why I will use the word weird reasoning is that often more than not, people will come up with things that does not make sense. Some people call it the bizarre reasoning, some people come out with the weird justification, things that does not make sense. So when you think about weird reasoning, when a person starts thinking of reason that do not make sense, then that is a little bit crazy. So in a way, weird reasoning is actually often more than called in my dictionary called constructing intricate justifications that outsiders find bizarre. What does that mean again? When you come out with the word intricate justification, intricate itself can mean complex, it can mean detailed, it can mean points that people may find it unable to understand, but you are able to understand along the line, and that when you come up with the reasoning that people unable to accept it, then in their way they will say it's bizarre, it's crazy, it's insane. So it's the reason why I call it weird reasoning. Often more than not, there are a lot of people, especially like let's say for example when you use the Niji Sanji defender, right? When a lot of people tend to defend Niji Sanji or the things that they love, or even when the case of defending someone, when you look at the whole situation, if the reason makes sense, yes, we can accept it. But what make weird reasoning is that when other people are unable to accept it. If people are able to accept it, technically it cannot be called fully weird reasoning or whatsoever. But often more than not, when the reason is unable to be accepted by majority of the world, then that is can be a form of weird reasoning. Or even if other people, let's say for example, let's say Twitter, when let's say that localizer are mad that otaku are bashing the localizer for coming out a whole new script for the story. The thing is, like, to the localizer themselves, they find it, yes, what they are doing is making the anime good. But when they are adding their so-called propaganda or ideology or rewriting the whole script for them, then to other people they will say, hey, that's wrong. And what do the localizer and the defender do? They defend themselves. But the thing is, right, when they defend themselves and they say that, hey, the anime sucks, we make it better along the line, or we don't understand Japanese, but we write a whole damn script anyway, yeah, it does not make sense. Why would you do a translation job when you don't understand Japanese? Or why would you do a job when you find it not good and thinking that you are going to make it good? Like, they are just coming out with reason to justify their point. And often more than not, it does not make sense because often when you look at the whole things, right, to them, the reason that they come out, the justification, the reasoning, the point, or even whatsoever, to their mind, it makes sense. But to us or to outsiders who are talking with them, it does not make sense. So often more than not, it's just that their mind is kind of like waving a form of story to support their obsession, to come up with a reason that to point out that yes, the reason why they're obsessed with it, the reason why they want to do it, is that they need a reason. Often more than not, when people will say that you don't need a reason to do things that you need to, but when you come out with like weird reasoning to justify your love, your hate, or jealousy along the line, that is often more than not when you are unable to move on. You are unable to go through the night whatsoever. And again, this is when things go south, because if you are in the obsession and people trying to help you and you are able to help, often more than not, there is a chance to help you. But when you come up with reason to defend your obsession with it, or thinking that, like, let's say for example, like the reason why you want to fall in love with a girl and the girl doesn't like you, but you still want to show your love along the line, yeah, you're just coming out of real reasoning, and people will say you are either insane at this point already, because the reason in other people's eyes does not make sense, and even if you think that it makes sense to you, then yeah, there's something wrong. One of the example that I can come up with is actually if anyone who know about the K-pop stalker, the German stalker who is stalking about one of the Korean idol. I can't remember what their name are, but I remember such a case. If you look at such if you guys know, write in the comment below, and that will be something that I can think that maybe I can refer further in next time. But that case, right, a German stalker going along the line of coming out with reason to justify his love for the Korean idol, it just proves how insane he is, because he's coming out with reason that he think his makes sense. He think that the Korean idol is in love with him, just not admitting it. Maybe she is a tsundere, but even though when she just outright said that no, she is not in love with the guy, she doesn't want to meet the guy, she want the guy to be out of her life along the line. But what did the guy do? He just go to the point of being obsession with someone, to the point of coming out with weird reasoning, and people are bashing him for his weird reasoning. So often more than not, when you look at the whole situation, when you look at the whole story, yeah, often more than not, people can come up with weird reasoning to justify their obsession, and that is a very dangerous sign, because number one, they need therapy at this point already. But often more than not, it's very dangerous to leave them alone. Often more than not, police would be best step in at this point. It doesn't need to be like step in at the first phase or second phase. Over more than I would say that if people start going obsession along the line, that police better step in. But at this point, right, the third phase, coming up with weird reasoning, if police still don't come up with the reason to protect some people, then it can lead to dire consequences in my book. But then again, it doesn't mean that all people who come up with weird reasoning are dangerous. Take it with a pinch of salt if you guys don't believe me, but there are some people who come up with weird reasoning, but they are still able to be safe in a way. What do I mean by that? The thing is, right, if they are able to come up with weird reasoning or stuff to defend themselves, it means that you can still talk with them, you can still come up with reason to slowly talk them out, and there is a form of negotiation still available. So often more than not, coming up with weird reason, they are just trying to justify their reason, and the only way to pull them out of the obsession is by keep coming out with a justified reason to debunk their reasoning. So once their weird reasoning got debunked along the line, and they start realizing, like, let's say for example, why do some people defend, let's say use Niji Sanji as a case study, why would some people now slowly turning hate against Niji Sanji in a way, is that while there are many people who are defending Niji Sanji even till to this day, of the time of this recording, alright, in future I don't know, but why would people defend Niji Sanji is that they couldn't come out of the obsession with Niji Sanji. They love Niji Sanji crazily. They want to support Niji Sanji. Even if Niji Sanji is evil, they will still support it along the line. But when they come up with weird reasoning that they just want to show their support for Niji Sanji, they are just supporting the talents, they are not supporting the company along the line. But when, like, the infamous leak contract, or people showing proof of how bad the company is or some of the talents are, people come up with crazy idea or crazy reasoning to justify their support for Niji Sanji, some of them. But then again, when you look at some of the case, there are some people who are able to turn head. Why would that be? Because they got debunked. They got the fact, they got the understanding, they understand what Niji Sanji did wrong. and they are slowly turning head. So when they turn head, they will start bashing the company as a whole while supporting the talents they want to support. So in a way, there is still a chance to save those people who have stepped into the phrase of weird reasoning. Because it may be seem weird to some people, but when they start out with the weird reasoning, if you look at the whole situation, they are still savable in a way. It's just that often more than not, those people can be saved, and that is still one thing. But the one of the reason why I say that it is still a very dangerous thing is that if people come up with weird reasoning and they do not accept other people reasoning, that is when the final phrase lead to. And what is that final phrase? Well, again, simple thing that I mentioned along the line, they couldn't accept other people, they go full denial. What does full denial mean? Well, actually, it is, as the word say, just denying other people. They do not. When I say along the line that when they come up with weird reasoning that makes sense in their mind, and we will come up with way to debunk them, or when you're trying to reason with them along the line, if they accept it, it means that they are still saleable. They can still accept stuff. But when they can't accept what other people say to them, or even when you throw evidence in front of them and they couldn't accept it, that is when they go full denial. The full denial is a very dangerous phase. Often more than not, therapy find it very hard to save them in a way. Is that they are unable to accept. They already have their own form of reality. They already have their own form of conclusion in their mind that they can't think anymore. They won't accept other form of reasoning. So in a nutshell, is rejecting alternative viewpoint as well as building up a mental fortress. It may seem like a very dangerous thing. Basically, they are defending their own view. It's just basically what they mean, alright? Defending themselves. But when they defend themselves and they're unable to accept them, they are just putting up shield all around them, a barrier in a way, and that often more than not is not something that you want a person to have, because they are just shutting down already. They are shutting their mind out of the reality. They are no longer accepting reality. It's more towards the famous word of for the Mythbuster, I reject reality and substitute with my own. Well, in this case, that phrase can also be used in this situation, that they often more than not, some people would only accept their own form of viewpoint, their own form of reality, their own form of conclusion, and they are not able to accept other people's point of view or whatsoever. And it doesn't mean that, hey, they still can't be safe. Often more than not, when some people couldn't accept other people's point of view, I mean, like, technically, some people will say, hey, it doesn't mean that often more than not when you come up with a debate, you should be hey, I don't want to accept your point of view, or maybe like Niji Sanji come out with their point of view and why am I rejecting them? Often more than not, if, like, again back to the point I say, if they make sense, I will accept it. But if they're not making sense, why would I want to accept it? And if I try to reason with them myself and they couldn't accept my point of view, then that is they are going for denial. I'm not going for denial. Get what I mean? So if they give me their view and I take it and I reason with them, I'm not denying them. I'm just giving my view. But if they give their view and don't accept mine, that is called full denial on their side. Understand? So overall than not, rejecting alternative point of view is that, or other people's point of view, is that when people don't accept it, again, like I mentioned, they are shutting down. They are shutting out of the reality. They are shutting out of whatever people. And again, when a therapy or specialist or anyone that is from the trying to help a person in mental health situation, when they're trying to step in to help them, if they are shutting themselves out, it's very hard for the specialist or therapy to try to crack open that shell. That shell is so damn hard that it's often more than not, it take long period of time to either save them, or if worst case scenario, they'll lead down to the last path, which I'll talk about it later. But the last path, again, like I mentioned, a mental fortress is a very dangerous thing, because it often more than not, again, like I mentioned, they really kind of building up their own weird reasoning, their own with conclusion. And again, if you look at some of the past cases of crime cases or some of the reasoning along the line, why would people go down that path? Is that they already have their own form of conclusion, their own form of judgment, their own form of or whatsoever mindset in their reality that is already in their mind, and that if they fail to accept other people, they will think that they are right. They will think that they are not wrong. They will think that whatever they do is justified. So often more than not, this kind of situation is considered very bad. And if you look at past cases, why would some people go along the line of thinking that, hey, like in the old past war, why would people say that war come from religious or hate or whatsoever? It's that they couldn't accept other party kind of argument or whatsoever, and they often more than not lead to war. Look at some of the war even till now. Why would people still go to war against each other? Because they couldn't accept each other view. They already got their own, and when you ask them, will you accept that killing is a bad thing? They will just say that no, we are just going for the war because of the sake of that we are defending ourselves, or maybe some of them will say we are the other one is in the wrong, or even in the case of activities trying to say that hey, Starbucks, McDonald's, or Google is trying to justify their reason for war along the line, even though it's not the main company along the line, and people are saying, oh, they are just, and when you try to reason with them, and they say no, boycott means boycott, they are the one in the wrong. Even when you just say that, hey, there are so many McDonald's all around the world. They are all franchise. The main branch is only in USA. So if you kind of like say, let's say, do Japan McDonald's support the Israel war? Do Singapore McDonald's support Israel's war? No, they don't. But then again, why would people say they McDonald's justify? Because they are belonging to the company called McDonald's. So when you ask them, like, even if McDonald's of Starbucks is of that country is a franchise of the original one, they are their own sort of company in a way, would they still be McDonald's or Starbucks in a way? To their mindset is no, they are still McDonald's, they are still Starbucks. It doesn't matter whether they are of a different franchise or different company, they still belong to McDonald's and Starbucks. They are denying now, right? So when you think about the whole situation, when you look at the whole point, right, often more than not, people like the activities or people going along the line of attacking people, they will often more than not denying other people's point of view, even when people are, let's say, Scarlett from Nijisanji got attacked when when she doesn't even know that McDonald's is technically so-called supporting or Starbucks supporting along the line, and people say, hey, we are gonna bash you for it. And when you ask them, like, why would you add in your view when people may not be aware, and they just say no, we are supporting. No, it doesn't matter to their mindset. It's like whether to Scarlett aware of the situation or not aware of the situation. If in the activities mindset or so-called fan mindset is that, oh, they are, you go and eat some Starbucks cake, you go and eat some McDonald's burger, you're in the wrong. No reasoning. There's no way to reason with that anymore at this point. So often more than not, food denial is a very dangerous phase. It's often more than not the final phase in my book. Why I always call it the 4 key phase of a person, from a sane person to an insane person. Often more than not, when a person lead to that point, it's a very dangerous phase. But then again, why would I call that is an extra line called the final line? Well, the thing is, right, often when a person go into food denial, they are still technically called insane, but they also can be a form of reasoning if you throw evidence at their face, and they will just go, even if they are go food denial in a way, at least you can talk with them. They won't go to the point of doing something insane. But what is the final line? But the final line is often more than not, I would call it the dangerous line. But it also can be called the precedence, or the cliff in a way. So the final line or the principles along the line, in case anyone want to know what is called principle, is actually the cliff, the high cliff when you climb out of the mountain and you look down and it's a long straight cliff, right? That is the principle. So often more than not, what I would call the final line, Tinder on the edge of the cliff, which lead you down to mania deliverance or derangement along the line, and that is a very dangerous line to cross. Why would I say that again? The thing is, right, that line, once you fall down, it doesn't matter whether any telepathy try to save you or whatsoever. You are just, in my book, straight out being called, can be instantly called crazy, a maniac, insane, or just downright just downright disarray or whatever you want to come up with. Just basically things that you weird, just downright weird. All right, so often more than not, the final line can have dangerous consequences. It can also have dangerous person in that group. And why would I say that is that if you think about it, right? Let's say for example, stalker, a person, which I will use it as a main as one of the reference right now. If let's say for example a stalker, why would a person go to become a stalker? Number one, he loved someone. Number two, obsession. He couldn't get out of the range of what loving someone. Number three, he come out or maybe she come out with reasoning to justify their love for someone. Number four, they couldn't accept being rejected, or they couldn't accept any other person falling in love with someone when they claim they are the first to love someone else, or even when the other party got maybe girlfriend or boyfriend along the line, they still won't accept that boyfriend or girlfriend along the line. And that is when, in this case, the stalker can go the dangerous route, which is, will they cross that final line? What is that final line? The final line can also mean that they can kill someone if they do not. I know some people will say that, what does that mean? Well, have you ever heard of the word, if I can't have someone, no one will? That is a very dangerous line by one of the stalker or murderer when they think of the love. So if when that happen, they can kill for the sake of love, and that is dangerous. All right, so when you look at the whole situation, that final line, often more than not, is either someone grab them before they cross that line, or they cross that line in of no return. It's really, really dangerous. And even to the point of, let's say, hate. Hate can be, let's say for example, someone hate someone else and their obsession with it that lead them to that they couldn't get it out of their mind, and they come up with reasoning to think that, hey, maybe I should hate the other person, or the person is trying to hate on them personally along the line, and then they deny that they are in the wrong along the line. Which example, and what line did they cross? He put a fire on that place. If anyone would want to know which example am I using, is the Kyoto Anime arson. Why would I say that? Well, the arson along the line, his anger, his hatred for Kyoto Animation was start out from the hatred. He think that maybe that Kyoto Animation is against him along that, and he hate them for so-called using his story along the line. Maybe yes, maybe no, maybe I don't know. So he hatred for the Kyoto Animation Studio was that he was not accepted by them. That was the first hatred, and that his obsession with Kyoto Animation lead down. He couldn't get it out of his mind. He always want to apply to Kyoto Animation. He keep on giving, and that he hatred for not being accepted by them lead them to the point of that when he think that the Kyoto Animation use his idea even when there is no proof to point it. It just means that his weird reasoning had lead him down to the path of paranoia, and he couldn't accept. He come out with weird reasoning. He come out with things that people couldn't make sense, and that is when he go full denial. that he could not accept it. Anyone who tried to tell him to move on his life, he couldn't. He just can't heal himself. He just come up with weird reasoning, and that lead him down to finally putting the fire to that studio, and that end up with 30 plus people dead. So when you look at the whole story, right, tingling on the edge of the cliff, that final line, once you fall off the cliff, can you still get back out? If you still manage to grab onto the edge, you are still safe. But again, you are still, if you still don't want to pull yourself out of that cliff, return to a safe spot, then, and that is just the end, because once you fall down, that's the end. You have finally become a maniac, a crazy, weird, destroyed person. Alright? So, often more than not, when you really fall down that cliff, are you still saleable? Maybe yes, maybe no. But can you reverse the damage that you had done? That's the main point. And this is a very dangerous line to cross. Again, they can, once they cross that line, is it something that we want them to stop? Yes, the police should be stepping at the third step, but often more than not, this is a very dangerous line to cross. And I would say that the final line, the reason why I call it the final line, is that once you fall that cliff, once you fall off that precipice, once you fall down that rabbit hole, the dark hole, the abyss, whatever you want to call it, there is no return. And it's a very dangerous line to cross. So again, what would I call all this thing, right? Is again the fourth phase of madness with the final line. I know this sound a little bit heavy along the line, but then again, this is the fourth step. This is the fourth step to madness, the four key phrase, the final line. I mean, like, this is something that I observed throughout my life, as well as looking at some of the situation that happened quite recently. I mean, like, I thought quite a few examples, okay? But then again, this is all a random chat. So if you guys believe me, write in the comment below which part do you believe on. And if you feel like there's point that you disagree on, write in the comment below. I mean, like, one of the things I can point out is that the third phrase, weird reasoning, full denial. It can kind of like, sometimes it can be full denial than weird reasoning. Don't get me wrong. But again, why I would say weird reasoning before full denial is that often more than not, when you come up with weird reasoning and they got debunked, they accept it, there is still chance to save them. But full denial, hard to save them. So again, there are cases that maybe they go full denial before they come out with weird reasoning. Yes, it is a possibility. Which the reason why I say that is called the four key phrase. Alright, not the four steps in total, but again, some of the steps can be kind of intertwined in a way, but I'm just phrasing to you guys the four key phrase in my dictionary. But often more than not, the order that I put up, emotion first, before lead to obsession, and then lead to weird reasoning, and then lead to full denial. Often more than not, if you look, that is the standard phrase. But if you feel like there is other phrase to be add on or disagree with some of them, write in the comment below, we can discuss it further. But if you agree with it, press the like button and subscribe for more random chat. If you have, when I talk about random stuff, again, things that never make sense to some people, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm in the form of the third phrase of coming out with weird reasoning, maybe not, maybe, I don't know. But then again, with that being said, I hope you guys all have a nice day or night. Bye.